Studio for the football show on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. We're sponsored by Cameron Commercial Vehicles. If you're looking for a van, then Sean's your man. Go on to CameronCommercials.com and he'll get the van for your business. Tam McManus is here with me. Delighted he's with me because the World Cup is well and truly up and running and we are enjoying it. There's lots to talk about on the programme and get your thoughts on it as well. The other good news is over and above talking about the World Cup. I thought I'd also mention some of the domestic stories that are flying about too. As far as the quiz question is concerned, Tam, I thought we'd go with Scotland-Brazil as the theme, and who was the last player, who was the player who scored the winning goal the last time these two sides met. So there you are, the elite joinery and fire protection quiz question. Who scored Brazil? Who scored Brazil's winner the last time these two sides met at a World Cup? They've played each other actually 4 times. I can remember it as a kid in 1974. Certainly remember the one in 82. Ruffy played in that one in the heat of Seville. And then, of course, I was there in 1990 with Davey and Kenny Moyes. We were there watching Brazil-Scotland. Thought we were going to get a result out of it. And then there was a last-ditch mistake between Alex McLeish and Jim Leighton, which cost us dearly. And then 1998. So, give us your answer to the quiz, and we'd love to hear your thoughts on the World Cup so far. Would you believe it, Tam, before we talk about Scotland-Brazil, would you believe that it's 40 years to the very day, the 22nd of June, since the hand of God from Diego Maradona? And also, right after it, probably, for me anyway, the greatest World Cup goal ever scored. Is that fair?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything better than that, Peter. I can't remember that. I was 5. The first World Cup I remember was 90, when I was about 9-year-old. I remember that. Yeah, I remember the Argentina, the holders, losing to Cameroon in the first game.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's the greatest goal I've ever seen. And probably the best non-Scottish goal was the handball.
Yes.
We love that goal.
Everybody seems to love it. The thing about it is it gave you...
Peter shouting.
Well, I was going to say,
better about
it gave you a real insight into how Maradona and the Argentinians just viewed it. You know, fair game. He's up. He's nicked it. He actually, by all accounts, he'd done it before.
Yeah, it's amazing that the referee and linesman never seen it, and the English players were obviously raging at the time, and that was a sore one for England, and then obviously rubbed in when he goes and scores that wonder goal. But yeah, great memories for every Scotland fan, I think. Yeah.
Do you know the one thing about that goal that I was listening to Gary Lineker talk about it, and I think it's very pertinent, Tam, to how good Diego Maradona was, is the fact that Lineker said that the Mexican pitches hadn't taken to the grass, the relayed grass, the brand new pitches, and he said, and your foot gave way. He says with the grass, it kind of you would take a turf of grass out with your boots. He says, so it wasn't as if it was solid on your feet. He says, but Maradona glided over it as if it didn't matter to him, and then goes past all those players and puts it in the net. That's amazing.
Yeah, I think for a generation, he's probably the best player in the world, the best player there's ever been. I think my generation, later than that, would probably say Messi. But it's amazing that Argentina have produced 2 number 10s of that quality.
Yeah.
The top 5 probably of all time.
Incredible. And if you're Hugh McDonald and myself and other people of a generation, you're going to say Pele, but nevertheless, we'll not have an argument about it. Give us your view on it. Are you enjoying the World Cup? Well, one thing I am enjoying, Tam, is the Tartan Army, because they deserve tremendous credit. I mean, they've been absolutely magnificent. We've had the president, I think, of the Boston Red Sox post a message to the SFA just to thank everybody associated with Scotland, because obviously 5,000 of them marched to Fenway Park. You also had the Boston Globe taking out a full-page advert thanking the Tartan Army. There's been so much positivity around the Scottish fans.
Yeah, and I think it's typical of Scottish fans in general. Peter, the Tartan Army, we were over in Germany a couple of seasons ago, and listen, we never seen any bother at all. It was all people enjoying themselves, mixing with the locals, very respectful. You know, didn't leave anywhere in a mess, didn't cause any problems with any of the locals, and it's no surprise to me that they've went over to Boston and they've continued that. And we were speaking about it before we come on. I think Boston was the perfect city for Scotland fans to go to. I think they're kind of similar to Scottish people. You know, I know a lot of guys from Boston. They've got Scottish ancestors, Irish ancestors. Big friend John Murphy's got Scottish parents and over and settled in Boston. So I think the Boston people have taken the Scotland fans to their heart. And everywhere you look, you know, they're praising the Tartan Army. The women are going mad for the men in the kilts. We've all seen the wee gifs with the wains in 9 months' time.
Yeah.
Ginger hair. So, as I said, I think they've really taken the Scottish people to heart. And listen, the pubs have made a killing.
Yeah.
I mean, the Tartan Army like a drink, as we know. They've drank the place dry, and they've ran out of beer. So they've really, the economy in Boston as well has took a big upturn as well. So I think it's all positive.
I love the cones, Tam, do you? The cones.
I think the cones is great. I think if you don't know this, you'd think it was disrespectful, but once you get to know that the Scottish people do that everywhere, we do it in Edinburgh, we do it in Glasgow, we put it on all the monuments, and listen, the Boston people were fine with it.
Yeah.
Miami police have been a wee bit different. I think they're not having it. But yeah, it's been a joy to watch, and I think there was a lot of scaremongering amongst people before the Scotland fans went over there. You know, it's not a great place at the minute to go and live, but certainly in Boston, there's been no hassle at all.
Well, the other thing I was going to say to you, Tam, and I think it's only right and proper to highlight it, is the fact that, and I don't want to get too political on it, but it's fair to say that the American people they deserve tremendous credit, because not only are we talking about people from Boston, but the American people have been so welcoming, so friendly, so kind, as we know as a nation the American people are. I don't think you can define the American people by the conduct of the president, and that's all I'm going to say about it. I don't want to get into the politics, because we do have a lot of people who are expats who get slightly perturbed when we have a go at the president, but I think the American people deserve tremendous credit. The Boston area has just equally been superb with Scotland. They deserve credit.
Yeah, they do. And it's not just the football or the soccer they call it over. They're going to the baseball. I mean, the atmosphere at that baseball game. I mean, you've seen the baseball players getting interviewed after it and thinking, I've never seen it like this in my life. There's been big playoff games. There's obviously, Boston's a huge sports city. You know, you've got the Bruins, you've got the Patriots. You've got a lot of the Red Sox, the Celtics. It's a big town for sport, and they've had some big parades. St Patrick's is huge over there, and they've never seen anything like the Tartan Army. So I think that says it all. I think they'll be welcome back. They're talking about, you know, Scotland going back over there on a yearly basis, or them coming, the Patriots maybe playing at Murrayfield or Parkhead. So I think it's been fantastic. It's shown Scotland up in a great light. It makes you proud to be Scottish, seeing the conduct of all your supporters over there, and the high esteem that the locals have held us in.
Yeah, absolutely. All we need now is something to be positive about, which is, of course, in our last group game against Brazil. How do you think we're going to approach it? I think Scott McKenna and also Aaron Hickey are the only two that have been kind of just closely monitored, not training with the main squad. But, you know, if one of them or both of them are available, that will help Steve Clarke and how he selects his team. I just wonder how he's going to go about it, what he's going to do, Tam.
I don't think he's going to change. I mean,
has he changed from what we feared from Germany?
I think the first game against Haiti, I think we were quite attacking. Obviously, we were expected to win, and we played the two strikers. So I don't think there can be any negativity about his team selection and tactics in the first game. Second game, I just think the goal early on spooked us. I think we lost our composure, we panicked a bit. And Morocco dominated the first half. I think at half time he's got the boys together, and we've had a real go in the second half without creating anything. I think that McTominay's playing too deep. I think, you know, he's got to be playing up further towards the striker. I think you've seen that in the second half. I think he's got to be in the box when crosses are coming in. Second half we went for it. You know, we lose 1-0. It's no disgrace to a really, really good Moroccan team, but by the looks of it, 3 points is probably going to get you through as long as we don't take a tanking against Brazil. Yeah, 3 points is probably going to get us through. And that's the name of the game. It doesn't matter how you get there. We've never qualified for a knockout stage in the World Cup, and I think that Steve's going to play it cagey against Brazil. Brazil are through. They're going to bring in, maybe rest a few players. So
they're going to bring in Neymar.
Yeah, the heat in Miami is going to be really, really bad, I think. So listen, I think a low-scoring game, a low-scoring defeat would maybe get us through. And
does that alter the way he's going to go about his business?
Yeah, I think we'll play similar to we played against Morocco. I don't think we're going to go too up front against Brazil. I think we're going to go and be compact, but we need to be braver in possession. We need to be braver going forward, because we've seen in the second half against Morocco, when we went at them a wee bit, they panicked and they were unlucky with a couple of decisions. Penalties, because they had a penalty. So But you're playing Brazil. You know, it's not, you can't go gung-ho against them. They've got a lot of quality, although it's not a Brazil team of the past. They've still got a lot of quality, but listen, if we go and get beaten 1-0, we're probably going to go through, and that's all anyone could ask. But you get people playing a lot of money over there, travelling. They want to see the team having a go. So I understand some criticisms from Scotland supporters, particularly those who have travelled, thinking, we never had a shot on goal against Morocco, never had a shot on target. We paid thousands to come over here.
Yeah.
But if we get through, then I think it'll be worth it.
Yeah, certainly be worth it for people who want to stay on. But the only thing I would say, and I think Gary points it out, we're bottom of all 48 teams with shots on target. That's the disappointing element of it. And I still think you can play positive with a note of caution, and it depends on his team selection and the way he goes about it. That's my only concern with it. I mean, Brazil look as if they're just coming. I always think the big countries, Tam, just come to the boil at the right time. They negotiate the group stages. They do just enough. You know, they easily got past Haiti and started to show a little bit of the flair. But is that a real indication of how strong Brazil are? I don't see Brazil winning it.
No.
So at the end of the day, you know, I'm not expecting Scotland to underestimate them or indeed, you know, think that they can go and take the game to them. I agree with you wholeheartedly. But I do think we need to show some kind of positivity, because if we sit in, we are going to get battered.
Yeah, we need an outball. We need to get up the park. We need a threat at the other end. We didn't have that in the first half against Morocco. I don't know. He's got options in the forward areas.
James has just said, would you play Doak and Curtis?
Would I?
Yeah.
Probably not against Brazil.
Would you play Shankland?
I thought Shankland was poor in the first game, and I thought he was really, really poor in the first game, and he obviously never got on the other night. A lot of eyebrows raised, but
I thought he should have come on, Tam.
I thought he should have come on when you're needing a goal. He's your best finisher. I was surprised at that. I was surprised they brought Lyndon Dykes in, and they brought Ross Stewart on. I was surprised at that. So I think we'll go. I think we'll go 4-5-1, 5-4-1, and try and keep it tight, and then as the game opens up later in the game, if we're still in it, a la Morocco, we'll have a wee go.
I'm not trying to be a shock jock here, Tam. Believe me when I ask you this. Would you play Hanley? Depends
if McKenna's fit. I think Jack Henry's been outstanding. He's been really, really good. I think Lewis Ferguson in front of the two centre-backs has been good as well, but Hanley makes a big mistake the other night running out and try to play him offside.
Can you imagine a manager, if you've sat there, you've worked on formation, you've worked on the way you're going to go about your business, you've maybe even worked on, look, first quarter we'll do this, second quarter this, we'll start to really push
drinks break and stuff.
Do you know what I mean? And then we'll push on, and now we'll maybe throw caution to the wind. But it's blown out of the water right away. I mean, it just absolutely went to sleep.
Lazy defending. Pierce just got to go with the runner. You know, he tries to play him offside, and there's no pressure on the ball, and you know you're taught that at a young age. If there's no pressure on the ball as a defender, you have to deepen. You can't, you know, come and squeeze a line, because good players will pick passes out, and that's what happened. And the boys finished it superbly well, and that got us off to the worst possible start. So I think if McKenna's fit, he might come in, but if not, I think he's going to stick with Hanley.
Yeah, and quite a few people have mentioned this, and again, you know, there's one here that says, easiest qualification ever. We're going to be praised for beating Haiti by a goal and losing everything else. Poor standards. I've obviously paraphrased that, but poor standards. Listen, we don't make the rules. We don't make the rules. If you beat Haiti and you don't take a tanking off the other two and we get through, all well and good. Everybody else is trying to engineer it, aren't they?
Yes. Listen, we're a small nation, and I know people are upset at maybe the way we play, but...
No, I don't think that's an excuse, Tam. I'm not looking at it as we're a small nation. I think we've got, and a number of people have written it in articles in the newspapers over the last few days, we've got fundamental problems with the way our whole game is set up. I'm not looking for Think Tank 3. I'm not looking for the latest Henry McLeish to come out with what's wrong with our game. We know that there are fundamental problems in having enough people who play the game the way we want to see it played. We used to take it for granted. We'd have Tanner ball players, we'd have midfielders who could play, we'd have, you know, good quality strikers. But the whole standard that you and I were talking about last season domestically was woeful. So we know the problems. There's no point in waiting till after the World Cup and then slaughtering everybody, because what you've got is you've got people like Neil Doncaster and the SPFL, and then Ian Maxwell and them saying, "Oh, we've taken millions in from the SFA for the World Cup tournament, and we've also taken millions in because more people are buying the Scottish Premiership." But that doesn't solve the problems that we have. Yes, there are only 5.5 million of us, but we should be playing better football. We should have better players, and we've just let it all slide.
It's another discussion altogether, Peter, in terms of the national. But that obviously impacts on the national team, because if Steve Clarke's looking at players, he's not picked many for the Scottish Premiership. Most of your players are playing abroad or in England, even the second level in England.
But they're playing in the Serie A. They're playing at second level in England. Some of them are playing Premier League football. Can I ask you, they're not bad players. No. Are we just at a point where maybe the manager is not getting them to play the right way? We looked and we said to ourselves, how many superstars are in the Motherwell side last season? Yet Jens Bertolaskau said to them, I know you're not top drawer players, but this is the way I want you to play. Why aren't we doing that?
Because we've got a manager that doesn't play that way. To be fair to Steve Clarke, he's been successful at what he's done. You can't argue against his record. I think he's got us to 2 Euros in a World Cup. And okay, we were at the Euros. It was poor to watch.
Painful
to watch. We've got the World Cup. We've won the first game. We've took a narrow defeat against a really, really good. I think Morocco are a good side. Yeah. We have a lot of quality players, and we're playing Brazil. We've landed in a tough group. And if you'd have said to me before the tournament started, how many points are we going to get? 3.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right.
And if we don't take a tanking off Morocco and Brazil, we're going to qualify, and we get a knockout game. So I think that's as far as we can go.
Yeah, but
I don't think we're going to go any further than that.
I accept that, and I think you're right. We all said, if we get 3 points, we could still get out of the group. We all said that beforehand. But don't you think are we wrong in the Tartan Army and the people who are at home who couldn't go to America? Are we out of order thinking we should have done a wee bit more against Morocco? Is it too much to ask to attack and get some shots on target? I ask you.
I think that the game plan was to stay in the game for an hour. And we've done that. We're 1-0 down, and then he brought Doak on, and then he started bringing strikers on to try and get into the game. But for a silly mistake for an experienced defender running out, we might get a point out of the game. Plus with some decisions go against us. That could easily have been a red card. The referee never looked at it. With 2 penalty shouts, one I think's a very, very big shout with McGinn.
I thought so. I thought
we didn't get. McGinn's a penalty. So things like that go against you as well in big games. So listen, we go and put a good performance in against Brazil, maybe get a draw, maybe get a narrow defeat and get through. I don't think we could have done any more. I think if we open up against, people are saying, well, why don't we have a go? I think if we played 2 up front against Morocco, we'd have got spanked. I think we'd have got it done.
Yeah.
So, and the same with Brazil. So it's all right saying, well, why don't we have a go, and why are we not doing this, doing that?
I'm not asking us to go gung ho, Tam.
No, but stay in the game and then have a go later on, which I think Steve Clarke has done, and particularly against Morocco.
Yeah. Okay, thanks to so many of you for your messages. Don't forget, you can hit the subscribe button on our PLZ Soccer channel. We'd love for you to give us that support. Absolutely delighted if you could do that. Interestingly enough, there's something else as a feature on our channel that you might be interested in. It's called the Legends Tour. Myself and Hugh McDonald are in the car, just scouting across the whole of Scotland, Tam, chatting to each other, Hugh sharing a few memories here and there, and then we're just basically, going through monuments or statues to famous managers or players from Scotland, and it's been a joy. Today's
put cones on them.
Well, we should do that actually. We've put the part 1 up today, and that is well worth it. I'm not going to say where we are. It's well worth watching. But all I can say, it's a legendary manager from Scotland, and it's been great driving through the countryside, bit of banter, and then obviously giving. We're not going to give the facts on the manager or player because everybody knows them. We're just going to give our experiences of maybe interacting with them or what we thought about them when they were growing up, and it's really enjoyable.
It's great because a lot of people maybe know where the statues are, and if they watch that, they'll go, "Oh, that's maybe around the corner from me. That's just up the road." So
I hope part 1, Tam, you get in the car, and I hope part 1, once you see it today, I hope you get in the car and maybe get down there, and you will not believe where it is. I mean, it's in the middle of nowhere. It's well worth watching it. If you get a chance, please do so. We're going to go through so many different parts, catching up with statues, tributes to managers and players down through our history, and there's a few crackers in there. I've thoroughly enjoyed it with you. It's been great, and thankfully we haven't had spaghetti bolognese, which again rules out Hugh putting the spaghetti bolognese on me and all over himself as well. He's absolutely magnificent.
He's not a man you want to sit beside when he's eating.
I went to Starbucks with him, and I got him one of those toffee, the waffle things. Oh, he loved it. That was him. He was as high as a kite,
Half it away.
No, he was fine. He had a wee coffee. He was happy. I had to keep him. By the way, I have to say this to you. We were at 2 or 3 statues in one of the parts of the programming where it absolutely bucketed down. And I actually looked at him at one point and I thought, geez, I hope I don't give him the flu, not at his age, But it's well worthy of your eyes and your ears. Have a look at it. Of course, Brazil, we've talked about how we should approach it. Thank you to so many of you who have mentioned about how this is going to pan out. Critical of some players. And again, a lot of people are saying even if we have a goal, Brazil are more than capable of absolutely thumping us. We just can't. We can't argue with you on that. I mean, it's one of those things where we just have to take it on the chin.
See if it's 1-0 with half an hour to go.
Yeah.
I could see both teams settling for that.
Yeah, I know.
It's roasting. It might just be a case of keep ball. So something like that might happen. Brazil get the top of the group or whatever, or get their 7 points, and then Scotland probably 1-0 defeat gets us through. I know it's not ideal, but because of the third place,
yeah,
you're thinking as soon as that draw was made, you're thinking, can we finish third? Can we get 3 points? And maybe get us through, and that's all you're thinking.
Yeah, I'll tell you how bad it was. At half time, my wife said, I'm away to bed.
It was terrible. The first half was brutal.
So,
really poor.
That kind of sums it up. Anyway, prediction?
I'm going to go 1-0 to Brazil.
1-0 to Brazil.
I'm going to go 1-0 to Brazil.
Yeah, I'm going to go...
Just don't have a lot of goals in the game. I think you've looked pretty solid defensively. Brazil will make changes. Really hot down there. I think 1-0. Maybe just suits both. But
if Vinicius Junior is playing, I'm going to go 2-0 Brazil. Yeah. I just think I
think they might, they've got a long tournament ahead. I think they might hopefully rest him.
Tam, have you seen anybody of the game so far? I mean, my favourite game so far, certainly it had everything, was England against Croatia, 4-2. It cemented my belief that England are going to be there or thereabouts. I mean, I tipped them to win it, and I'm not going to change my mind.
They're a top manager now. You can tell he's...
I thought they went through the gears, Tam.
I think Gareth Southgate was very cagey.
Yeah.
Probably similar to Steve Clarke in terms of, was pretty solid and pragmatic in his approach, and they won a lot of games, 1-0, kept clean sheets. I think Tuchel spoke about in the second half taking the kind of the handbrake off and going and getting after Croatia, and they've done that in the second half. So they've got so much quality coming off the bench as well, England. I think it helped them. 1, playing against an ageing Croatian team, and 2, the roof was closed at Dallas and it was air conditioned. You get them in a heat somewhere in Boston or Miami or something, and they're playing a South American team. I think it's a different game. Even Mexico, who they could play in the last 16, it's a totally different game. But yeah, they were impressive. But I watched Spain yesterday. They're a different team. Lamau in the team.
Yes.
The French, first half were poor. Second half, Mbappe kicked into gear. They've got players, Elise, and they've got a lot of quality. Cherky. So I've been impressed with European teams, France and Spain, England. I've not been impressed with the South American teams.
No.
I've been impressed with Brazil.
Messi.
No, Messi.
A hat trick.
Aye, Messi, but I don't think Argentina will win it. I don't think Brazil will win it. I think the European team will win it, and maybe a wee dark horse, the Dutch. I've been impressed with Holland.
Yeah.
I think they were excellent. I think Japan are a good side as well. They spanked Sweden the other night 5-1. I think Holland are a wee dark horse as well.
And Paul says, here we go, pro-England, Peter strikes again. It's not a crime to suggest I've tipped England to win it. It's not bang out of order. It's just one of those things where you look and you say to yourself, who's impressed you? I mean, I still think, if I'm looking at a last 4, depending on obviously the way the permutations of people being drawn against each other, I can see Argentina, France, Spain and England. Of the 4 that I would say are in with a right good shout of getting to the last 4, depending if they meet each other at some point earlier. The other point I was going to make to you, Tam, and I don't know if you share this view, is that I think the press and a number of them who are bang out of order, and certainly I've listened to some of the broadcasters, radio and television. I think their criticism of Ronaldo is just completely and utterly out of order. I think they're waiting to try and... It's death by 1,000 cuts. Yeah. He's 41. People don't like the way...
I think he's one of the main reasons that Portugal won't win it.
Well, I mean, that's an opinion, but they are savaging him.
I know, if Roberto Martinez had big cojones...
Would you drop him?
Aye. But he won't.
Would you make him an impact sub?
Aye, but he's not going to... He can't do that. He's only played one game. Going to be wheeling him out in a wheelchair, and he's 53, still playing for Portugal.
Was he to blame for the poor performance?
No,
but a couple of chances.
No, but he's...
Is it because he's the figurehead? Is it because he's a...
I just think at that level.
Yeah.
At that level, his legs have gone at that level.
Messi.
I think Messi's different because the Argentinians they play for him. Have you seen some of the videos when they're all walking out behind him? He's like a god.
Yeah.
And I think they are all quite happy to do the running for Messi. And as long as he does the business for them. I'm not so sure Portugal are the same ilk.
Yeah.
They all want to do the hard work, donkey work to get Ronaldo to get the glory. I think Messi, Argentina are more a team than Portugal.
I think there's a greater love affair with Messi. I get that. I mean, listen, this campaign, if they win it, I don't think anybody's going to argue he's the greatest ever player. I mean,
win the World Cup at 39.
Even I have to say, okay, fair play to you, son. You're the greatest ever player. I'm hanging on by my fingernails to Pele. Oh. But for God's sake, man, Pele was 30 when he won the World Cup in 70 for his third time. But if he wins it again, you just have to listen. You're the GOAT. Yeah. But I think, rather unfairly in my mind, and I'm a huge fan of Ronaldo's because I think he's a professional who, despite the posturing, despite the posing and everything that people don't like about him, I think he deserves great credit because of the professionalism and the level of commitment he's shown to his profession. He's absolutely up there. I think when he retires, people might
he's hunger and desire to keep going. Same with Messi. I mean, these guys have won everything, done everything in the game, and they're still getting up in the morning and training hard and making sacrifices to be top players when they're multi-millionaires, and won everything in the game. So you've got to give them both credit.
Yeah, I like Gary's attitude to it, which is something that I think, by the way, they used to batter Messi over the head with. Gary's just said Messi walks when he's not on the ball, and then he explodes when he's got it. And I think it's a brilliant way to look at it because he's so smart in the way he goes about. He said, I'm not in the game, so I'm not going to run about. And and then right now we're absolutely battering Ronaldo. This is a Ronaldo who started as a 7 and then transformed himself into a 9, and his goal stats are off the scale.
Messi's capable of beating 4 and 5 and then putting in the net. I don't think Ronaldo is now.
No.
But did you hear Pep Guardiola talking about Messi the other day? It was a programme, I don't know if it was Netflix, and he was speaking about him walking. And he said it shows you a clip where Messi literally walks for like a minute and a half.
Yeah.
And then gets the ball, takes 2 players on and scores. And Pep was saying that he's just scanning. He's getting into areas where he can receive the ball. He knows exactly what he's going to do before he gets the ball. And
did you notice that was the way I was playing for Dukla the other day? Yes. I was walking, but then there was no beating. there's no end product.
You got the first part right. But it's like somebody stalking their prey, and then they know exactly when they're going to strike. And he's phenomenal, Messi, because he's the only player, as I said to you, once Messi chucks it, I don't see any other players of his ilk out there. That number 10 who can just walk and just turn their switch, just go and beat 4 or 5 and put it in the net. I think that number 10 role is going to be dying out. Yeah, absolutely. If you had the chance, Tam, and you were given the opportunity to be flown out to Miami right now, and then they said, right, Tam, we're going to let you walk into the Scotland dressing room and hand out a message to the players and to Steve Clarke. You've got 60 seconds. What would that message be? Have no regrets. I don't think there's any doubt that the Scottish players are giving everything, but maybe just a wee bit braver on the ball, a wee bit braver and more belief. I just think it's a belief thing. I think we've got better players than we've showed. I know you're saying about having a go and all that, and I agree with that to a certain extent, but I think in the final third we've got better players than we've shown so far. McTominay's not really played well. I don't think McGinn's been great. I think our best players have been Jack Henry and Lewis Ferguson, who defensively, you know, we've looked pretty solid, but going forward we've not really shown that. Ben Doak's been good as well in flashes, but have no regrets and give it everything against Brazil.
England, Ghana. England 2-0.
Oh, comfortable. I'll go 3-0.
3-0, right? Okay, three things I want to say to you before we go, just to remember. If you can, Legends Tour, Peter Martin and Hugh McDonald sitting side by side in a car. Part 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 and 6 will be all through the summer. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. It's up there on our channel right now. Interestingly enough, there's still a chance for you to enter the prize draw for the Land Rover Defender. Tam, lucky tiger. It's on our site. I'll post a link in our chat here as well. If you enter the prize draw on 19th of July, Tam, what's happened on the 19th of July? It's the World Cup final, and there you have it. We will look out for that link because, quite simply, with Lucky Tiger, you get a chance to win a Land Rover Defender right now if you enter the prize draw. The link is actually on the homepage as well with the video, but we'll post it in the chat as well for you to get through there. So that's one of them. And the other thing that I'm going to say to you is we will deliver by the end of June our top 50 players since the Premier League started in 1975, all those years ago, courtesy of First Class Credit Union. It's a great competition. We'll pick one person at random. You don't necessarily name the best player in the 50. You just name a player that you think should be in the 50 on our website, plzsoccer.com. And once you name it, register, we'll pick out one lucky winner, Tam, and Gio Thompson's going to paint their favourite player.
He's the main man.
You've got one, haven't you?
Yep, Gio's done one of me and he's fantastic.
So it's well worth it.
He's the best in the business, I think.
Yeah, First Class Credit Union, top 50 players, name one, put it in there, register. It's absolutely free, that competition, and you could be the winner of a fantastic canvas painting from Gio Thompson. The quiz question, courtesy of Elite Joinery and Fire Protection. Who was the player who scored Brazil's winner the last time Scotland and Brazil met?
This is a trick question to Tom Boyd.
It is Tom Boyd. Well done, you. Yeah.
Remember greeting?
Yeah, Tam couldn't get out of the way of it, to be fair. Scotland played okay that day.
Aye, they did, aye.
And always remember...
Glorious failure again. Another mix-up. Same with the 1990 minute. That was a kind of mix-up. And then
Can I
that was
just say something to you? The manager, Craig Brown, was getting slaughtered for the way he played his team and who he picked at that time as well.
That's right. And Brazil were a lot better then than they were now.
And we get spanked by Morocco. So there you are. Let's hope we can do something against Brazil. Keep your fingers crossed for that. Tam, we're going to be back on Thursday right after the Scotland-Brazil game just to give our point of view on it.
Hopefully we're talking about us going through.
Yeah.
But they're maybe talking Germany and Boston or Mexico, or there's a lot of permutations and it changes daily, but as long as we get through, I think everyone will be happy. Have a wee knockout game, that'd be great.
It'd be brilliant, actually. I think the people from Boston would be delighted to welcome us back.
Imagine Scotland v Germany.
Yeah, in Boston. It would be absolutely incredible, and it gives a lot of the guys a chance to obviously give their registered address just in case they've got kids that they don't know that they have, Tam. Just a thought. Just a thought. Anyway, on that note, come on Scotland, come on Steve Clarke. Put on a performance to make us all proud. From Tam McManus and from myself, Peter Martin, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching.